Okay, well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Windsor Law LLM Program webinar. I'm delighted that you're able to join us and from many different parts of the world, I can see. So, my name is Laverne Jacobs. I am the Associate Dean of Research and Graduate Studies here at Windsor Law. I'm delighted that we have the opportunity to present this information webinar to you. And in this webinar, there'll not only be information, there'll be an opportunity for you to raise questions, receive answers, and of course, offer any comments that you may have if you wish as well. So with that, I just want to give a brief bit of information about logistics. I will present. If you have any questions, please place them in the chat. And at the end of the webinar, I will, open it up. I'll go through the questions in the chat, and we can have a discussion from there. So with that, let me begin. So why choose Windsor Law for your LLM? There are obviously many different universities that you could go to and many different law schools. Our law program has a number of unique features. It's the only LLM in Canada, for example, that offers you the chance to do a teaching certificate while also completing your LLM degree. Teaching is something that's quite central to what we do, and you can take the 2-year LLM teaching stream, which provides you with the chance to complete a university teaching certificate while you're also writing your thesis and completing your LLM degree. So that's something that's not offered at any other university or in Canada. Another unique feature of our program is that we have two main themes at the law school, and you can find them both within the LLM program. So these two themes are access to justice and transnational law. And we have many students who are interested in a variety of topics that touch on access to justice and transnational law. So they may be studying everything from copyright law to human rights law. They might be interested in Indigenous legal orders. All of that can be done at Windsor Law, but with the unique focus of thinking about these issues through lenses that reflect access to justice or transnational law. So those are just a couple of reasons why one might choose to come to the Windsor Law LLM program. But there are a variety of other reasons that you don't find in our brochures or on our website, and that I think are really important as well. And so what I'm going to do in the next little while is talk about some of these additional reasons why one should choose the Windsor Law LLM program. So first of all, one of the things that students love about being at Windsor Law is being part of a community of scholars. Here on the screen, I have a picture of a group of students from a few years back. They had all attended the ceremony of one of their colleagues who had finished their teaching certificate. So here they all are. I'm there as well. And you can see that even from the picture, that they're quite a tight-knit group. We find that students here, and students tell us this as well, enjoy the sense of camaraderie and community that comes along with the Windsor Law program. It's a small program. We take in 4 to 6 students a year. And the students find not only a place to talk about their scholarship, but really deep friendships that they continue on with after they graduate. So the community of scholars is certainly one aspect that is attractive to many students. I'll add one more thing though. When we talk about having a community of scholars, it's not just between the students. Um, because our program is small, there's the opportunity for students to really get to know the faculty members. Graduate students are invited to seminars such as faculty seminars where we have guests visiting who are scholars who are presenting their works. Um, they're also invited to faculty workshops. So these are workshops that focus on They can focus on many different topics, but focus on ways of enhancing skills and knowledge for faculty members. And we are happy to have grad students there as well. We really find that grad students are kind of right in between law students and faculty members, and we welcome them within our world here at Windsor Law. So that is one idea, the community of scholars, or one reason why students come here. I mentioned just briefly the teaching certificate, but I just want to say a few more words about that as well. The teaching certificate gives the opportunity not only to learn about philosophical and historical and practical approaches to pedagogy, um, it also gives the opportunity to do a little bit of teaching through 3 practica. So there are 3 opportunities to do a practicum within the Windsor Law LLM program, and students really value these opportunities. Um, in terms of the formal aspect of the 2-year teaching program, students take all of the courses that they would take as part of the 1-year program. So research methods, a course in graduate seminar, or called graduate seminar, I should say, a course in legal theory, along with their thesis. But in addition to that, the 2-year program students also take courses from the University Teaching Certificate program. So that's a program offered by our accredited Center for Teaching and Learning. And there they take a couple of compulsory courses on pedagogy and on designing courses. They also take electives on things such as leading effective discussions, lecturing, online teaching. There's a whole host of them. And finally, they have the opportunity to do some practical work, as I mentioned initially, to actually teach. And so there are a mixture of practicum opportunities. There's one that comes through the Center for Teaching and Learning. There's another through a course that they take here at Windsor Law. So they'll take a course called Law Teaching in the Diverse Classroom, which teaches about how to teach controversial topics. And in that course, they get a chance to do a practicum. And finally, they do what we call the major practicum, which is an opportunity for a student to do a little bit of teaching, usually in their supervisor's course or one of their courses, um, that relates directly to their thesis. So students really love these opportunities. And so the 2-year teaching stream is certainly a unique angle and offering of the Windsor Law LLM program. So another aspect that's quite unique to our program deals with the variety of approaches to research that one can take at Windsor Law. We are very much supportive of students taking interesting paths to their research, so long as they are paths that are rigorous and allow them to answer their research questions with both rigor and integrity. In the program itself, students take a course on research methods, which introduces them to a host of research approaches that one finds within sociolegal research. So this includes historical research, it includes qualitative research, so interviewing and doing field observation work. It also includes quantitative, a module on quantitative research. So doctrinal research, of course, is included as well. So there are many different ways of approaching research, and we recognize that. We want our students to be ready not only for the thesis that they will prepare in the course of their LLM, but also, for future. So many students may choose to become academics, certainly having a bit of background early on how to do various types of research can be extremely helpful. So there are a variety of types of research, and we've seen this not only in the classroom, but in the work produced by our students. Many of our students have chosen to use qualitative research methods, for example, and have produced all of our students have produced some really fantastic work. Um, I think that it's probably fair to say that our students study questions that are important and of practical importance to law and public policy, and have made some significant and important findings in their work. So another reason why one should choose Windsor Law for their LLM is that it offers a field of possibilities in terms of what one can do with their LLM degree. So many of our students have decided to continue on to pursue a PhD. Some go directly into the PhD or a PhD program. We don't have one at Windsor Law, not yet anyway, but some go directly into a PhD program. Others take some time off and may choose to work for a little while before. We have students who come from all over the world and have done a variety of things, such as, pursued practice or, pursued work in the realm of policy. We also have students who come from practice and decide to return to legal practice afterwards, after doing their LLM. So the LLM for them is often seen as a break, a chance to think about something new. They may use the information in the future. Um, Whatever you decide to do, we have professors who are very supportive of their students. And I'm sure that you'll find that your professors, your supervisors, other professors in the program will, offer you support and mentorship as you think about the various career paths that are open to you. And they'll probably help you to discover new career paths you hadn't thought of. So there's definitely a field of possibilities and many different options with an LLM from Windsor Law. So here I'll just turn to talking about some of the central elements of the Windsor Law LLM program. Um, the degree requirements, I've touched on that a bit earlier, but just to let you know that there are two streams. The 1 year LLM is 1 calendar year, so 12 months. We start in September. There's no January intake, only September intake. During that year, you take, as I mentioned earlier, a full year course in research methods, a 1 semester course in legal theory, another 1 semester course in graduate seminar, and you write your thesis. So you'll be working on your thesis as well. If you are in the 2 year program, you take the same courses that I've just mentioned, but you also will complete the university teaching certificate, which is an internationally accredited program offered by our University Center for Teaching and Learning. So you will bring those courses, you'll fold those courses into the mix, and you will finally also take a course on teaching controversial topics. Excuse me. And that will bring you to the end of your 2 years, your 2 calendar years, or 24 months. I want to emphasize that our faculty members are really experts in their field. And, working with them really gives you a chance to work with leaders in law and public policy, some of the leaders in creative kind of schools of thought and approaches to legal and socio-legal issues. Um, their work falls within the two themes that I mentioned at the beginning of our webinar. So access to justice and transnational law, which are the two themes of Windsor Law. And they're also people that you'll enjoy working with. Our faculty members are collegial, they care about their students, They're really wonderful people. I want to mention, and this is the third point on this slide, that we have 6 research centers now at Windsor Law. At the beginning of the session, I put into the chat a link to the research centers. I also want to, you can take a look at them, but I also want to just point out that our research centers cover several different important areas of interest. So we have a research center on Indigenous legal orders, one on people with disabilities in the law. We have another that focuses on cities, and that's just 3. So please take a look at that link and you'll find out a lot more. It gives you additional links to each center. You can find out a lot more about them. Another one I'll just mention quickly is that we have a center on law and technology. So coming to Windsor Law gives you a chance to be involved with these various research centers to really, get to know what some of those issues are in a practical and often concrete way. And students are really usually quite excited about that opportunity. In terms of tuition, uh, tuition ranges. In the past couple of years, tuition for international students has been about $27,000 Canadian, including fees. And this is just an estimate. There's actually a fee calculator on the university's cashier's website that you can use to find out precisely what the fees are. For domestic students, tuition is a bit lower and usually around $12,000 Canadian. We offer a funding package. The funding package is really usually tailored to what you need. So, for students who are admitted to the program, um, I or the Associate Dean, Research and Graduate Studies generally will sit down with you and determine what your needs are. Funding, in terms of what it's made up of, is usually comprised of um, a mixture of graduate assistantships along with sometimes straight scholarship money, sometimes research assistantships. So it's usually quite supportive. It's up to $16,000 Canadian, and students usually find it quite helpful. Of course, if you're an international student, it doesn't cover all of your tuition and fees. And so I always I encourage students all the time to look for additional sources of funding as well. We have a link on our website that speaks about tuition, scholarship, and funding. So when you go to see the Windsor Law LLM website, you can take a look at the information there, and maybe, hopefully, you'll find that helpful. Okay, so just a reminder that the deadline for applications for applicants who would like to attend the program, be admitted to the program for September, is March 15th. So a few more slides, as I mentioned. In addition to the degree requirements that I had talked about just a slide ago, we also have a requirement. I call it a soft requirement. It's necessary to graduate, but I think it's actually kind of a lot of fun. It's a requirement that every student in our LLM program present their thesis work in progress at a conference. So this is to be done before you graduate. And we do actually teach you how to present at a conference as part of the program. So these are just a couple of pictures of students who presented at various conferences. It can be a professional conference, it can be an academic conference. There's choice, but definitely I think it's an exciting and a useful opportunity. And I just also want to highlight the sense of achievement that you'll have as a student in the Windsor Law LLM program. These are pictures of students who have completed their teaching certificate or, just defended their LLM thesis. It's really a lot of fun, and I can see that the students, I share with them in their sense of accomplishment and achievement. These are important steps, and Windsor Law is a really, I think, a really wonderful place to pursue them. Okay, so kind of down to more perhaps brass tacks. Um, just a few notes about application requirements. In terms of grades, it's important to have a grade point average of 70% or higher. So a North American grade point average of 70% or higher. Transcripts are usually submitted um, well, from through the applicant. Um, if admitted, an official version from the university would have to come to the University of Windsor. But the main point I want to make is that in receiving the transcripts, we usually do the calculation to determine whether or not it's a 70% North American GPA. Um, the research proposal, and sorry, I should just say one more thing about the 70% GPA, which is that because our program is small, it's also quite rigorous. So um, we don't necessarily say that a 70% will guarantee you, but you definitely do have to have at least a 70% to get into the program. In addition, the application requires a research proposal, which is about 2 to 3 pages long, um, basically an outline of what you are hoping to examine in terms of your research questions and your thesis, and a bit of, kind of a literature review of what is out there and how you see what you're planning to do contributes in an original way to what's out there already. A writing sample is also required, and we require a writing sample in order to see how well you organize your ideas, how well you can structure your thoughts and findings, uh, to look at English grammar, things like that. A CV is also required, so usual fare, I think. So outlining your accomplishments and 2 academic letters of reference. If English is not your first language, an English language proficiency test is required. Um, and there's a committee that goes through all of these applications, um, and interviews any applicants who seem viable. So there may be an interview as well. So here I have just a few additional resources. The Windsor Law LLM website, which I put into the chat. You can also email us at gradlawinfo@uwindsor.ca, and you would have received this email address, when you registered for the webinar and we responded. So definitely, if you have any additional questions, my office would be happy to answer these questions, and you can email us, and we'll respond as soon as we can. So thank you. That is it for my part. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to receive them. I'm just going to go into the chat now. So I don't see any questions yet, but if you do have any, please feel free to either put them into the chat or I think I do see one. Does Windsor Law's LLM offer courses other than those mentioned which tailor to specific areas of law? So that's a great question. Thank you, Natalie. Um, There are other courses, certainly, courses within the JD program, for example. Um, Normally, the courses that are offered can be taken as electives. But having said that, students find that the program itself is quite rigorous. So if students take courses as electives, it's usually on the advice of their supervisor in order to, fill a gap in knowledge or, just to get a bit more information on something they require for their thesis. So I guess the two parts to the answer I'm giving. A, yes, there are courses that can be taken. B, it's usually kind of prudent to to work with your supervisor and seek guidance as to whether or not it's feasible to take those courses. Certainly, if you're in the 2-year program, you might have more time to take an additional elective. So I hope that answers your question. Thanks for the question. Okay, well, I don't see any more questions. So, as I said, please feel free to reach out to us at gradlawinfo@uwindsor.ca. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to talk about the Windsor Law LLM program to you. And I also realize that you're probably joining in from different time zones. So for those of you where it's late in the day, I appreciate you joining in, or early in the day, very early. Anyway, that's it. We look forward to receiving your application. And thanks again.